What's that mean?
That means we have 78 slices of chocolate cake, 99 French fries, 54 chickens, 38 salads, and 255 beef sandwiches due up in 8 minutes.
There are moments in television where you suddenly become aware that you're watching something extraordinary. Not just a great episode or a great performance, but a moment where every element of filmmaking just locks into place in the exact perfect way.
I don't know where I am, but
I'll find you, Des.
I promise.
No matter what.
I'll come back to you.
I won't give up.
I promise.
I promise.
I love you.
One of those moments happens near the end of episode 4 of True Detective's first season. The episode ends with what is widely considered one of the most ambitious sequences ever attempted on television. A 6-minute tracking shot that follows Rust Cohle through a housing project as a simple robbery spirals into absolute chaos. Before we get into how and why this shot was so impactful, it's important to know a little bit about how we get here. Halfway through the first season, in episode 4, Who Goes There?
Plan is we make them an offer. Get a line on their supplier, confirm it's the due, bring him in.
The first few episodes of True Detective are deliberately slow. Created by Nick Pizzolatto and directed entirely by Cary Joji Fukunaga, the first season unfolds like a dense Southern Gothic novel. The show moves between two timelines, 1995 and 2012, following detectives Rust Cohle and Marty Hart as they investigate a ritualistic murder that may be connected to a larger cult operating across Louisiana. For the first 3 episodes, the series builds its world almost entirely through conversation. Rust delivers philosophical monologues about human consciousness and the illusion of free will.
I contemplate the moment in the garden, the idea of allowing your own crucifixion.
Marty struggles with the contradictions in his own life, playing the role of a moral authority at work while quietly destroying his marriage at home. The case itself moves forward in small, unsettling steps, revealing strange symbols and hints of something far larger lurking beneath the surface. But episode 4 marks a turning point.
Guy I used to run with, he wants to meet me tonight. Now if I can get him alone, we snatch him up and work him over.
In the 1995 timeline, Rust reconnects with an outlaw biker gang he once infiltrated during an undercover assignment. His goal is to use that connection to get closer to a suspect who may be tied to the cult behind the murders. To earn that gang's trust, Rust tries to exchange narcotics, but they want something else. They want Rust's help robbing a stash house.
Motherfucker, I need a gunslinger. Now you ain't too timid. Get on this with me. And then we can talk about doing business.
The house is in a low-income housing project controlled by a rival crew. The job is supposed to be simple: grab the stash, get out, and split the profit. Of course, nothing about the situation is simple. The moment the gang arrives, it becomes clear that something is wrong. Then the show does something extraordinary. It stops cutting. The camera locks onto Rust, and for the next 6 minutes, the audience follows him without a single visible edit. When the sequence begins, Rust is barely able to maintain control over the bikers, who seem to want nothing more than to escalate the situation and start firing. But again and again, Rust says,
Easy, mother. Easy. 30 seconds. Hold his mouth.
Ginger, let's go.
Those first minutes feel like a rubber band being drawn back further and further, each line of dialogue another pull on the band we all know is going to snap. Then it does. Rust pulls his terrified contact out of the house as the sound design goes muffled, like our ears are ringing.
Wish I could have done this from the start, you fucking moron.
Gunfire erupts all around them, and still, the camera stays glued to Rust as he moves through a maze of houses and backyards. At one point, Rust is forced to shove his hostage into a bush as police cars and gunmen run down the street. Moments later, he's climbing over debris in a backyard while shots echo from the street behind him. The camera follows him through another house, through another yard, and eventually toward the perimeter fence of the complex. Only when Rust climbs over that fence and disappears into the darkness does the camera finally cut. The entire escape has played out in real time, and the effect is hypnotic.
I'm so done talking to you like a man.
Long takes like this have always fascinated filmmakers. There's something inherently thrilling about watching a complex sequence unfold without the safety net of editing. When a scene is filmed this way, every element of the production must work perfectly in sync. Actors must hit their marks exactly. Camera operators must navigate tight spaces, while maintaining composition. Extras have to move at the right moment, props must be placed in precise positions, and the stunt performers have to execute choreography that feels chaotic while remaining safe and controlled. If any one of these pieces fails, the take falls apart. In film, directors sometimes have the luxury of attempting a shot like this dozens of times. Television rarely has that kind of time in a schedule that demands finished episodes a lot quicker. Pulling off a complex tracking shot inside a single hallway is already difficult. Series like Daredevil would later become famous for their long take fight scenes, but those sequences were largely contained within enclosed spaces. Part of what makes the True Detective shot so ambitious is that it spans an entire neighborhood. Production didn't have time to build a set, so instead they found a location and built the scene around what they had.
The first thing I saw in the stash house sequence was a moment of real-time action taking place. Knowing that we were going to be locked into this moment, it was the perfect opportunity to just run one long take.
Every movement looks absolutely gorgeous. The camera moves through streets, houses, yards, fences, and bushes. Every door Rust opens, every corner he turns, and every character he encounters has to be choreographed in advance. The sequence was reportedly rehearsed like a stage production to ensure it would all work.
We had like a day and a half to rehearse it, which is not much when you've got fight sequences and effects and car stunts and helicopters and everything else.
And beyond the technical achievement, the sequence is effective because it reveals something fundamental about Rust's character. Up until this point, Rust has largely been defined by his intellect. He's the philosopher of the show, the detective who spends as much time analyzing the nature of human existence as he does examining crime scenes. But this scene shows another side of him. Rust moves through the chaos with the instincts of someone who has lived in environments like this before. His decisions are immediate and precise. He knows when to threaten someone, when to disappear into a crowd, and when to run. The scene suggests that Rust isn't simply a detective studying violence from the outside. When we watch him repeatedly hit attackers with the handle or barrel of his gun, every move is both labored and intentional. For 6 minutes, the audience sees the version of Rust that existed long before he ever stepped into the interrogation room and waxed philosophical about,
This is a world where nothing is solved. Someone once told me time is a flat circle.
What makes the scene even more interesting, structurally, is its placement within the series. Television traditionally saves its biggest set pieces for finales. The logic is simple. If you want viewers to remember your season, end with the most explosive moment possible. However, this one arrives at the midpoint of the season and works as almost a reset for the audience's expectations. It lets the audience know that if the series can pivot from the quiet musings of a stoned Rust to this level of intensity, then anything might happen next. Because shots like this do impact tone just as much as story. And on a television schedule where time and budget are limited, most productions simply can't afford the risk. The fact that True Detective committed to this approach is a testament to the creative confidence behind the show's first season. It wasn't just trying to tell a compelling mystery, it was trying to push the boundaries of what television could look like.
It was extremely important that the tension is maintained throughout so that as an audience, you're able to experience whatever fear he might be having at that moment.
In the years since True Detective aired, other shows have experimented with ambitious, long takes. Some have been stressful, like The Bear's online ordering oneer, or playful, like It's Always Sunny's health department visit. But few moments have matched the combination of technical precision and narrative purpose that this scene achieves. Because the shot in True Detective wasn't simply to impress the audience, it was there to place us directly inside Rust Cohle's world, a world defined by unpredictability and the constant threat of violence. For 6 uninterrupted minutes, the camera traps us in that reality, and when Rust finally climbs over that fence and Marty rescues him, the audience experiences that same relief he does. Which is why, more than a decade later, the final sequence of Who Goes There still stands as one of the most remarkable achievements in television filmmaking. Not just a technical marvel, but a moment where storytelling and cinematography become inseparable and completely entwined with the story and characters. And that alone makes it one of the greatest TV shots ever produced. So what do you think? What other shots in television changed the way you thought about how a story could be told? Let us know down in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.